So here is what people call the vampire's grave.
Hidden for hundreds of years, the world's most terrifying creatures are now returning.
There's our giant human being.
From vampire skeletons, ancient curses, to eerie tombs.
Here what we have is, according to urban legend, a vampire's grave.
This video is packed with jaw-dropping discoveries. Stay tuned to find out how scientists revived a 400-year-old vampire and bring the supernatural to existence.
So here is what people call the vampire's grave.
At the edge of Greater Manchester, there's a chilling grave that's been around for over 300 years. Found in St. Aidan's churchyard, this 1720 stone coffin is hard to miss. Locals call it the vampire grave, thanks to the strange symbols carved into it, a winged skull and a serpent eating its own tail. This design, called Ouroboros, represents cycles of life and rebirth, but it doesn't end there. Similar graves have been found all over Europe and Britain, making this eerie site just one of many linked to strange, ancient rituals and legends that still raise eyebrows today. Vampire Girl.
Authorities have now been able to identify the little girl who was found in a sealed coffin underneath a home in San Francisco a year ago today. She had no name and little was known about her background or her history, but her preserved body left behind a number of clues.
In 1870 San Francisco, a small glass casket was buried at Oddfellows Cemetery. Fast forward 140 years, and in 2015, a construction crew discovered it near the University of San Francisco. Inside, they found a little girl dressed in a white lace gown, with a flower cross on her chest. Locals whispered she was a vampire, trapped in time, forever unchanged. At first, she was known as Miranda Eve, but DNA revealed her real name, Edith Howard Cook. Was she truly a vampire? Her mysterious journey led to a final resting place in Colma, giving her the peace she deserved. Ancient Mummy. Buried deep in the sands of Egypt, a 5,000-year-old mummy was discovered still resting in its sarcophagus, untouched by time. Archaeologists uncovered this ancient tomb, with the body preserved so well it looked as if it could rise at any moment. The mummy, wrapped in linen, was found in a burial site dating back to the era of the pharaohs. Experts were stunned by its incredible preservation, leaving many to question, how could something this old remain so well kept? Could there be more to this ancient burial than meets the eye? Vampire in Cave. Some places are better left untouched, and this one proved why. A group of daring souls wandered into this old, creepy building deep in the woods. As if that wasn't bad enough, they found a coffin. Did they leave? Nope. They got closer. Big mistake, guys. The coffin creaked open on its own, and out came a terrifying black creature, its eyes glowing like it hadn't seen daylight in centuries. Those guys didn't think twice. They ran for their lives. Vampire? Zombie? Call it what you want, but that thing was real. Believe me, stay away. Caged vampires.
Here what we have is, according to urban legend, a vampire's grave.
There's something strange at Mount Zion Cemetery. The graves there aren't ordinary, they're caged in iron, known as mort safes, built to keep something trapped inside. Let me tell you guys, these ornate cages weren't just about wealth. They were meant to stop something far darker, the resting ones from rising. In the 1800s, people feared that the deceased could come back as vampires. The cages were a way to keep the restless from walking again. Now, these eerie graves are the only ones left, adding a chilling twist to an old legend.
There is this cage to keep the vampire in its grave.
Chinchorro mummies.
Oldest mummies are in big trouble. The point of mummification is, of course, to preserve bodies, and Chile's famous Chinchorro mummies have remained preserved for more than 7,000 years.
In Chile, the legendary Chinchorro mummies, over 7,000 years old, are facing a bizarre twist. They're turning into black ooze. Known as vampire mummies for their eerie preservation, they are now unraveling due to humidity. This damp air wakes up bacteria, the same kind we carry on our skin, which feast on their ancient remains. Imagine centuries of stillness suddenly breaking down into a gooey, dark mess. Scientists are racing to save them, but the transformation is happening fast. These vampire mummies are slipping into something unimaginable, leaving behind a chilling mystery of time and nature.
As the right moisture and right temperature appeared, they started using the skin as nutrients, and it's causing the skin to go black and become gelatinous.
Gift of the century.
We are not gonna stop digging. No, it is just the appetizer of the fourth season.
In 2020, archaeologists in Egypt made an incredible discovery. 59 sealed coffins hidden for over 2,600 years. And one of these ancient treasures was opened live, revealing a perfectly preserved mummy wrapped in a stunning burial cloth. This happened in Saqqara, an ancient burial ground filled with secrets from Egypt's past. The crowd watching couldn't believe their eyes. It felt like history was coming alive right before them. This find was called the Gift of the Century, and it truly was a moment no one could forget. Treasure Island. On the legendary Oak Island, a researcher had discovered an old, mysterious box buried deep in the earth. It felt like something out of a blockbuster movie, but it was real. Carefully lifting the lid, he revealed the dazzling sight of golden ornaments and sparkling jewels, each piece more breathtaking than the last. It was like the island's age-old secrets had finally decided to show themselves in the most stunning way. This wasn't just treasure, it was proof that the stories about Oak Island might actually have been true. A moment like that made you wonder what else could be hidden there. Thai Cave Mystery.
There's our giant human being.
While exploring a cave in Thailand, a tourist stumbled upon something truly bizarre. Hidden deep inside the cave was a skeleton, but it wasn't like any other. This one was huge, towering far beyond the size of an average human. So, could this be the remains of a giant, an ancient being long forgotten by time? The mystery of this cave's secret remains unsolved, and now that chilling discovery haunts those who dare to venture in. Some things in the dark are better left untouched.
Try and put myself here for reference.
Two-headed human. In Portugal, experts at an archaeology site made a discovery they couldn't explain. They found a terrifying humanoid figure with two heads. Yes, you heard that right. This wasn't a normal human being. Its hands and feet were strange and scary, almost like a vampire. Surprisingly, the body was so well preserved that it didn't seem very old. To let people see and wonder about it, they placed it in a museum. However, its exact identity and background history remain a mystery. 800-year-old mummy. In Peru, researchers discovered a mummy that has been bound for over 800 years. Along with the mummy, they found a collection of items buried in an underground tomb. These included offerings, pieces of pottery, plant remains, and stone tools. The mummy's position and the items found with it suggest it might have been part of an ancient ritual or burial practice. This discovery raises questions about the culture and beliefs of the people who lived in the area centuries ago. The findings are still being studied, revealing fascinating details about life in ancient Peru. Giant Cyclops.
Skeleton looked sort of human-like, only much bigger and a little stranger.
Farmhands in the Midwest made a strange discovery: a large skull with a single central eye socket. This find sparked theories about cyclops-like beings, similar to those from ancient Greek myths. The Greeks believed such fossils were proof of giant, one-eyed monsters. However, scientists suggest these skulls could belong to ancient elephants. Their nasal cavities might look like eye sockets. Cyclopia, a rare genetic defect, causes creatures to have one eye, but it doesn't explain fossil finds. Some fossils, believed to be millions of years old, may have inspired Cyclops myths.
They didn't know what dinosaurs looked like or what other creatures looked like. They would assemble them to look like men. The rib cages would be put together, and these would be very, very big creatures.
Mummified croc. A team of archaeologists found mummified crocodiles in a 2,000-year-old tomb in Egypt. The ancient Egyptians preserved these crocodiles as offerings to their crocodile god, Sobek, who was believed to bring fertility and protect people. The discovery included at least 10 crocodiles, and some of them were still in great shape after all this time. The way the Egyptians mummified the crocodiles shows how much effort they put into honoring their gods. Strange humanoid.
When you hold this creature in your hands, you know that you have a real mystery here.
In February 2014, there were rumors about a strange, human-like creature found in Mexico. People thought it could be an ancient or future being, possibly brought back through time travel. However, there's very little information about the creature, and no solid evidence to prove it's real. The creature was described as looking like a humanoid, but there were no clear details or official studies to back this up. Many similar stories of strange creatures have been shared in the past, but most turn out to be misunderstandings, hoaxes, or myths. So for now, we don't know much about this creature, and without more proof, it remains a mystery. Bulgarian giants. Just when you thought things couldn't get creepier, another bizarre discovery has surfaced in Bulgaria. In Bulgaria, near the Black Sea, archaeologists uncovered ancient skeletons with iron rods placed across their bodies. This wasn't by chance. People in the past used this practice to make sure those who passed stayed at peace. It was a part of a long history of anti-vampire rituals, and similar finds have been unearthed across the Balkans. This eerie custom was thought to be crucial to keep the departed from returning to trouble the living. A real-life nightmare that lingered for centuries. Poland burials. In 2022, archaeologists in Poland made a spine-chilling discovery. They found a 400-year-old grave of a woman buried with a padlock on her foot and an iron sickle across her neck. Creepy, right? But it gets worse. This year, just a few feet away, they found the remains of a young child buried face down, also with a padlock on the foot. Experts say these people were buried as vampires. Back then, people feared the resting one could return as creatures like Yuppie. The site, forgotten for centuries, holds dozens of graves with strange rituals to keep the departed at rest. 1 million mummies. In the ancient Fag El Gamis cemetery in Egypt, there's an eerie mystery that's been haunting archaeologists for centuries. Over 1 million mummies have been found, some of them perfectly preserved for over 1,500 years. But among them, one particular mummy stands out. A young one, dressed in colorful booties, her tiny body untouched by time. Experts believe the cemetery was filled with everyday people, but this child's grave has sparked unsettling rumors. Could she be something more? Some say the myths are true. Vampires can remain unchanged, even after time passes. And with this mummy's strange preservation, the mystery deepens, leaving us to wonder what really lies beneath. Sleeping Beauty. In 1980, archaeologists uncovered something that sounds like it's from a mystery movie, the 3,800-year-old Sleeping Beauty of Lulin. This mummy, found in China's Taklamakan Desert, was perfectly preserved. She still had her red robes and blonde hair braided like she'd just stepped out of a time capsule. Experts think she lived a tough life on the Silk Road, breathing in harmful dust and smoke that slowly wore down her health. What's even crazier, nearby were other mummies, red-haired and European, long before anyone thought they'd be in Asia. This find shakes up everything we thought we knew about the ancient world. Peruvian find. Archaeologists in Lima, Peru, just uncovered a mummy that's around 3,000 years old. They first found hair and a skull, but as the dig went on, the full figure was revealed. This mummy wasn't just buried, it was part of a ritual. Researchers believe it was offered up during the final stage of a temple's construction. Alongside the remains, they found corn, coca leaves, and seeds, likely part of the offering. This discovery comes from the Manche culture, which thrived in the Lima valleys way back between 1500 and 1000 BC. A piece of history preserved for thousands of years. Golden tongue. In a shocking discovery near Quesna, Egypt, archaeologists uncovered mummies with golden tongues. These ancient remains were found in wooden coffins, surrounded by incredible treasures like gold necklaces and scarabs. Dating back about 2,000 years, during the Greco-Roman period, the golden tongues were believed to give the deceased the ability to speak, see, and taste in the afterlife. This wasn't the first time golden tongues were found, but it's still an incredible find. These ancient practices show just how deep Egypt's belief in the afterlife truly went, transforming the deceased into divine beings. Mammoth skeleton.
Was an adult male, probably in its 40s at the time of its death, probably lived between 10,000 and 15,000 years ago.
On a Michigan farm, a team of researchers uncovered a woolly mammoth skeleton. This giant roamed the earth 10,000 to 15,000 years ago. They carefully dug it out, finding its skull, massive tusks, ribs, and other bones. But oddly, the legs were missing. As they dug deeper, they made an even more shocking discovery. This wasn't just a random mammoth carcass. It turns out ancient humans brought it here and used this pond area as a storage spot, returning when they needed parts. What else will they uncover as they dig deeper? Only time will tell.
The pieces having been brought to this place by ancient humans for storage of carcass parts in a pond, it was their intent to come back later and retrieve this when they needed fresh meat.
Treasure coins. Imagine holding something that's been hidden for centuries, waiting to tell its story. How incredible is that? Well, that's exactly what happened near Livorno, Italy. An archaeologist uncovered shiny Roman coins in the soil. These coins were not just ancient, they were in amazing condition, making them rare finds. Experts believe they belong to a soldier from the 91-88 BC wars, giving us a fascinating peek into Roman history. Golden mummies. In the heart of Egypt's western desert, Bahariya Oasis hides a secret that took the world by surprise. In 1999, an accidental discovery by a guard on his donkey led to the unveiling of the Valley of the Golden Mummies. The team uncovered over 100 mummies, each more stunning than the last, with gold masks and decorated coffins. These mummies, untouched for centuries, revealed Roman life, showing their intricate burial rituals. Today, the valley continues to unravel the ancient mysteries of Bahariya, a place now known worldwide for its hidden treasures. Musical mummy. In Peru, archaeologists uncovered a tomb that held way more than just a priest's remains. This ancient priest wasn't alone in his grave. He had a whole band with him. Musical instruments and snail shells from Ecuador were found, used as decorations, not snacks. These shells were buried with the priest about 200 years before anyone else in the region had them. It's like he had a prehistoric playlist waiting to be discovered. Imagine the tunes he might have been jamming centuries ago. What a wild find, honestly. Unusual discovery. In the Nazca region, famous for its mysterious giant drawings, archaeologists stumbled upon a cave packed with ancient treasures. Surprisingly, some mummies had long heads and only 3 fingers. Grave robbers, seeing dollar signs, couldn't resist and started swiping these creepy mummies, selling them like they were rare collectibles. Now, you'll find these spooky figures on display in museums. Don't worry though, scientists say these aren't aliens, just ancient people with some seriously unusual unusual traits, giving us a glimpse into a past that's way more bizarre than we ever expected. Timeless press. In Iraq, archaeologists uncovered what might be the oldest wine press in the Middle East, dating back a massive 2,700 years. This impressive stone structure, with 14 basins carved into the mountain, sits in the village of Kanis. Experts believe this could be the second oldest wine press in the world, making you wonder, did the Mesopotamians have their own happy hour here? Researchers are now working hard to figure out what the ancient wine tasted like. Imagine sipping a glass from history itself. How wild would that be? Crystal Lady. In Belize, explorers found something mind-blowing deep in the ATM cave, an ancient Maya woman's skeleton, sparkling like a crystal. Covered in minerals from the cave, her bones glittered, leading to the name Crystal Lady. This wasn't just any tomb. The Maya believed this cave was the entrance to the underworld. That's why they performed intense rituals here. So the discovery was nothing short of chilling, revealing secrets from an ancient world still holding on to its eerie magic. Cave art. Cave art offers a glimpse into the creativity of prehistoric humans. These ancient paintings, found in caves, often show animals like mammoths, bison, and horses, as well as handprints and mysterious symbols. Famous examples include the Chauvet Pont d'Arc Cave, which has detailed animal paintings over 30,000 years old, and the Lascaux Grotto, known for its colorful images of horses and bulls from 17,000 years ago. The purpose of this art is still debated. Some believe it was used for rituals, storytelling, or communication. These paintings reveal the deep connection early humans had with their environment and showcase their artistic skills thousands of years ago. World-first surgery. In East Kalimantan, Borneo, Indonesia, a 31,000-year-old skeleton was found, revealing the world's first successful surgery. The skeleton belonged to a young adult and was discovered in caves that are around 40,000 years old. Researchers studying the leg bones found that the lower left leg had been carefully amputated. The heel bone showed signs of healing, meaning the person survived the surgery and lived for many years after. This discovery proves that ancient people understood surgery and how to care for someone after such an operation, much earlier than anyone thought. It shows how advanced these prehistoric communities were, even thousands of years ago. 1770 mummy. In 1975, researchers at the University of Manchester studied a 13-year-old mummy, catalogued as 1770. X-rays showed missing leg bones and a fragmented skull. Upon unwrapping, they discovered bandages, a cartonnage chest cover, and insect remains. The mummy lacked internal organs but had gilded amulets, artificial limbs, and a false phallus, suggesting mixed male and female attributes. The body's preservation was poor, and the cavities were filled with mud and bandages. Carbon-14 dating showed the body was around 1,300 years older than the rewrapping in the Roman period, possibly due to the belief that it belonged to a person of high importance. Despite extensive analysis, the mummy's identity remains a mystery. Vampire resting. A tourist in Romania was exploring the woods when he went too far. Suddenly, he saw something strange on a tree that changed his beliefs. It was a vampire hiding under its wings, looking like it had been asleep for hundreds of years. The tourist didn't know why it was there, but he felt scared. Worried the vampire might wake up, he quickly left the woods. Old fossil. In 2016, scientists discovered a 3.8 million-year-old cranium in Ethiopia, revealing a face belonging to Australopithecus anamensis, a distant human ancestor. The fossil, found in the Afar region, shows a protruding snout, broad cheeks, and a narrow brain case, indicating it lived around the same time as Lucy. The cranium, surprisingly primitive, suggests a brain size similar to a chimpanzee's and large canine teeth. Its prominent forehead bone crest indicates powerful chewing muscles. Roman discovery.
Oh my God! Whoa!
Deep inside a cave overlooking the Dead Sea, researchers stumbled upon 4 Roman swords that seem frozen in time, nearly 1,900 years old and still sharp. 3 were tucked away in wooden scabbards, their iron blades shining like they were hidden yesterday. Experts believe Judean rebels took these weapons from Roman soldiers and carefully stashed them during the Bar Kokhba revolt.
Now we understand that the swords are from the 2nd century CE. Probably they were hidden in the cave by rebels, Jewish rebels.
The dry desert air has worked its magic, preserving this treasure trove like a historical time capsule. For these researchers, holding these swords feels like stepping back into an ancient battlefield, a moment where history truly comes alive. Gazelle mummy. In Egypt, a surprising discovery was made when researchers found a mummified gazelle. This rare find was in a tomb, buried with an ancient Egyptian ruler. The gazelle was carefully preserved, with its body wrapped just like humans. Scientists believe it might have been a special animal to the ruler, possibly used in rituals or as a symbol of strength. The discovery shocked many, as it's unusual to find animals preserved this way. Ancient Egyptians had deep respect for animals and sometimes treated them like humans in life. Giant skull. A group of friends set out to explore the woods in Utah, believing that they might find a connection to an ancient civilization. After wandering for hours, they discovered something that left them speechless. They spotted a giant skull with strange carvings, unlike anything they had ever seen. The skull appeared to belong to a giant, possibly an extraordinary human being, or perhaps it had ties to extraterrestrials. The carvings on the skull only added to the mystery, sparking more questions than answers. Despite the shock and curiosity, they left it where they found it, unsure of what it truly was, and the mystery remains unsolved. Ancient skin. Archaeologists recently found an ancient snake skin buried in the desert. This wasn't just any shed skin. It had strange symbols all over it, which looked like dark magic. The markings, which had been there for over 6,000 years, made everyone who saw them feel uneasy. No one knows why it was buried, but the symbols suggest it might have been part of something powerful and mysterious. Whatever the reason, it's clear that this is not a normal discovery, and it's probably best not to mess with it. Vampire skeletons. In Romania, an expert researching ancient humans believed a cave deep in the woods might hold important remains. His theory proved correct when he discovered a head inside the cave. But this was no ordinary find. The head didn't appear human. It seemed to belong to a giant vampire. Shocked, the experts studied it further and estimated it to be nearly 800 years old. This discovery left him puzzled. How could vampires have existed so many centuries ago? It raises more questions than answers, leaving the expert wondering about the truth behind ancient myths of vampires. Strange humanoid. A camper in Peru was setting up camp in the woods, excited for a peaceful experience. However, things took a strange turn when he spotted a humanoid figure nearby. It was thin, with an odd-shaped head, feet, and arms, nothing like anything normal. The sight was unsettling, and with no clue what it was, the camper decided it was safer to leave the area. He quickly packed up and moved to a different spot, leaving the strange encounter behind. Petrified giant. A man was traveling in Mexico and enjoying the beautiful mountain views. While looking around, he saw something that puzzled him. It was a petrified giant, sitting still in the mountains. The giant seemed like it had been there for thousands of years. He couldn't believe what he was seeing. The mountains of Mexico left him with a memory he would never forget. Who knows, there might be more hidden there. Saudi giant. A tourist in Saudi Arabia explored deserted areas, curious about history. During his journey, he stumbled upon something shocking, a giant skull with big, scary eyes. The sight was terrifying and mysterious. There were no other body parts nearby, but the skull's size gave an idea of how massive this human might have been. Could it be a clue about an ancient civilization of giants in this region? No one knows for sure, and the truth remains buried in the sands of time. Unidentified being. A man was returning from exploring the woods when he suddenly saw something unusual. At first, he thought it might be the remains of some animal, but when he looked closer, he was shocked. It didn't seem normal. The remains appeared to be of some strange humanoid figure with a long neck, unusual hands, and strange feet. Was this the remains of an ancient being, or could it have come from another world? Now, it's up to you to decide what this strange discovery really was. The mystery remains unsolved. Neanderthals' remains. In May 2021, archaeologists in Italy uncovered the remains of 9 Neanderthals in the Guattari Cave, located about 100 kilometers southeast of Rome. These remains are estimated to be around 100,000 years old. The discovery suggests that these Neanderthals may have been hunted by hyenas, as indicated by the condition of the bones. The Guattari Cave has been a significant site for Neanderthal research. In 1939, a Neanderthal skull was found there, and subsequent excavations have revealed more about the lives and environments of these ancient humans. Locked vampire. A traveler was passing by an old town in Peru late at night. He decided to stay there and found an abandoned house to rest. The place felt spooky, but he entered anyway. While exploring, he noticed a coffin. He should have left, but curiosity got the better of him. He opened it, and what he saw shocked him. A vampire with terrifying big teeth and claw-like feet. The most surprising part was its chest, where a knife was stabbed, and its hand was gripping the knife, as if it had spent its last moments trying to remove it. It was clear this vampire had been there for hundreds of years. Locked away after a struggle ended its life. The traveler wisely decided to leave immediately, which was the right choice. Cave discovery. A group of experts were exploring caves around the world, but a cave in Israel left them puzzled. Inside, they found something extraordinary, a giant head placed in the wall. This wasn't an ordinary head, it appeared to belong to a cyclops. The head had one large eye and a beard, making it look mysterious and ancient. Finding such remains in these caves hints that a giant might have lived here in ancient times. The discovery raises the question, were there more like it? Could these caves hold more secrets about a civilization of giants? The experts are left wondering about the history hidden within these mysterious walls. And now, let us move on towards our subscribers' pick of the day. In a small village in Poland, a group of archaeologists made a discovery that shook their beliefs. They unearthed strange remains locked with steel restraints, as if someone wanted to keep them trapped forever. When locals heard about this, they were terrified. According to them, a female vampire had terrorized the area in the 17th century. It is said that villagers had struggled to capture her and finally buried her, sealed to prevent her return. They believed that disturbing her grave could bring her back to life. This discovery not only raised questions about ancient beliefs, but also left the archaeologists wondering if some myths might hold a grain of truth.